My name is Kate. I am currently 31 years old and work as a web designer. Previously, I worked as an office worker, but now I am a freelancer working on a contract basis. My workplace is no longer a company like before. I work remotely from home. My husband's name is Chris, and he is 5 years younger than me. He works in sales at a company that deals with home appliances and has an active job. He is busy moving around every day. His personality is also different from mine. I focus on efficiency and speed in my work using a PC, but he is the type who continues to work steadily in sales, even if it takes time. Chris is a bit clumsy, but I find that aspect of him very endearing. We met at a group dating party. I joined reluctantly just to fill the numbers, but he approached me actively. He didn't mind my age and told me, "I like you, that's why." At first I didn't feel romantic feelings, but his persistent approach moved my heart. He is a very good person who values family. Also, his sister Hannah is 10 years younger than him and was a 14-year-old middle school student at the time. It seems she is very much adored by her family as she was born much later. She excels academically and is highly regarded by her school. Chris has often proudly talked about his sister since we were dating. However, there is a concern regarding her that clouds his expression whenever he talks about it. My parents want to enroll her in a prestigious private high school, but our financial situation is tight. I managed to go to college, so if she goes to a private high school, it would be a big burden on the family finances. Yes, private schools have high tuition fees. She wants to go, but it will be a significant burden for my parents. There's no need to push her hard to go to a private school. She will understand if we explain the situation. I hope so too. However, my parents really want her to attend a private school. They have had a tough life in agriculture, so they want to spare us the hardships. That's why I was able to go to college. It's hard to say anything against your parents' wishes. Yes, that's why I also work part-time on weekends and save money. I send the saved money to my parents. Really? I was surprised by his words. He seems much more mature than me, even though he is 5 years younger. Now that I think about it, it seems like my in-laws and husband were placing too much expectation on her. But at the time, I felt they were a good family, considering Hannah's future well. 2 years after we started dating, I married him when I was 30. A year has passed since our marriage, and we still feel the joy of being newlyweds. We have never had a fight, and our relationship with Chris' family is good. Our married life is stable. Currently, we prioritize our jobs and do not have children yet. Although we are reaching the age limit, we still hope to have children and will consider it in the future. I don't think it's a big issue. However, I have one concern. It is about the relationship Chris often boasts about with his sister. This fall, Hannah became a high school student and started attending a prestigious private high school in a major urban area. As a result, she moved away from the countryside and started living alone near our house. Her parents have asked Chris to take care of her. I think it's inevitable. However, the problem is that she frequently visits our house. Chris, are you there? Hannah? Are you here again? It's fine since I live nearby. Leaving those words, Hannah smiled and sat on the sofa, hugging my husband. She was cheerful, while my husband seemed a bit overwhelmed. However, I think he actually enjoyed it. Watching them, I could feel their deep affection toward each other as siblings, but I felt a bit jealous due to her actions. Hannah, would you like tea or juice? I want tea, right now. That's not an appropriate way to speak. I held back those words in my mind and responded smoothly. I can prepare it for you this time, but you'll have to make it yourself next time. You know I'm working from home, right? I can't just take a break whenever I want. I then started preparing the tea. Hannah acts considerately on the surface, but when there's no one else, her attitude toward me is quite terrible. Oh, my friend's calling me. I wonder what it's about. I'll go take it. Leaving those words, Chris took his smartphone and left the living room, heading towards the entrance. As the living room door closed, Hannah stared at me sharply. "Why would someone like you marry my brother? You're not a good match. Did you threaten him or something?" "Well, maybe I know some big secret about your brother, and that's why I did it." "Huh, what nonsense. Even if you say that, I'm not afraid of you. It's really annoying to be treated like a child. If you were a younger and cute lady, it would have been better. You're too old for me to talk to." "Well, it's not surprising that I seem like an old lady to a high school student like you. But you're older than my brother, so you should earn more and support him. Working from home seems like it only makes as much as a convenience store part-time job. I could earn that much too." I was surprised that Hannah would say such things. She is still a naive child. "Actually, I earn more than that." "Really, there's no point in pretending. You can't earn much, can you? So Chris must be paying most of the household expenses, right? You must be grateful for his high income." I'm dumbfounded that she wouldn't believe me. How should I explain it? I'm at a loss for words, unable to say anything. "Look, you can't argue, can you? And don't think I'll stay quiet." It seems like Hannah plans to keep complaining. In that situation, I decided it was more peaceful to let her be and quietly accept her complaints. Just then, I stopped hearing Chris's voice at the entrance. It seemed his phone call had ended, and we could hear the sound of his footsteps approaching. As he approached us, Hannah's expression brightened and she looked towards the living room door. "Chris, was the phone call okay?" "Yeah, it was just a confirmation, no problems." "That's good. Drink your tea before it gets cold." "Thank you." As soon as Chris entered the room, Hannah jumped to him and urged him to sit on the sofa. The gap between her attitude towards me just moments ago and her behavior with Chris was so vast, it almost made me suspect she had a dual personality. How troublesome it is to be alone with Hannah. But her attitude only changes when we are alone, and then she merely nags. Considering this, I decided to think of it as just a young girl's cute jealousy. I don't want her actions to cause a rift between Chris and me. I haven't revealed her true nature to Chris. Despite this, Hannah is emboldened by my non-resistance. "Hey, what are you making?" "Dinner for today." "This?" "It's stew." "I see. Understood." Hannah came to our house again today. But on this day, an unexpected trouble occurred. While Chris was in the bathroom, Hannah came up next to me where I was preparing dinner and peeked into the pot. Sensing the unpleasant atmosphere, she took a surprising action. "Oops," my hand slipped. While saying this, she grabbed the pot and threw it into the sink next to us. The loud sound of the pot hitting the sink left me too shocked to speak. The stew I had carefully prepared was scattered inside the sink. I quickly turned off the stove. Meanwhile, Hannah was smirking at me. "Are you okay?" I heard a loud noise. Chris rushed over from the living room. "Sorry, I accidentally dropped the pot because she startled me." "Kate, are you okay? Did you get burned?" "Yes, I'm fine." Overwhelmed by Hannah's clever act, I didn't tell the truth on the spot and responded to Chris's inquiries. This interaction had been just verbal until now, but her act was excessive and dangerous. A slight miscalculation could have resulted in serious burns. I felt I could not overlook this. After Hannah left, I decided to tell Chris about everything that had happened. "Really? Did Hannah intentionally throw the pot?" "Yes, she used to just complain, but..." "Really? I'm sorry, I didn't notice she was capable of such actions. It's partly my fault for not saying anything, and Hannah is very cunning. I'm sorry, I'll have a serious talk with her." The relationship between Chris and Hannah could be worsened by this. But I couldn't keep silent. The next day, Chris warned Hannah over the phone, and she came to apologize in the evening. "I'm truly sorry. It's okay, as long as you understand. But please don't do anything dangerous again." Hannah deeply apologized in response to my words. Seeing her like this, I decided to forgive her. I thought the problem was resolved. But actually it wasn't. I could not have anticipated such a situation. Chris, are you planning to go on a trip somewhere? Yes, we're planning to go on a trip for the next 3-day weekend. A trip. I want to go too. I was shocked by Hannah's statement. I did not want her to join a trip meant for just the two of us. Feeling my anxiety, Chris reassured me. This trip is to celebrate our wedding anniversary, so it will be just the two of us. What? That's not fair. I want to travel with you too. Sorry, we'll plan a family trip next time. For the next holiday, could you go home and spend it with Mom? If something happens, we won't be around to help you, and I'd be worried. Hannah was clearly not convinced by the proposal. However, after Chris repeatedly asked her, she finally accepted. Then we went on our trip and had a very enjoyable time. It felt like the first time in a long while that Chris and I had time just for ourselves. We visited various tourist spots and bought lots of souvenirs. We also bought a lot of delicious food, hoping Hannah would change her attitude. As we were thinking about this, an unexpected trouble occurred on our way home. It happened when we got into a taxi from the station after our trip. Strange, your credit card seems to be rejected. I'm sorry, Mom. Is it not working? If so, I'll pay in cash. I'll bring some money from home. Could you please wait a moment? I'm very sorry. While apologizing, the driver was trying to make the payment with Chris's card. We initially tried to pay with a card, but it seemed like the machine couldn't accept it. We didn't have much cash on us after the trip, so I decided to go home to get some money. When I entered the house through the front door, I immediately noticed something was off. Everything seemed unchanged around me, but something felt different. Carrying this strange feeling, I headed to the living room. When I carefully opened the living room door, it appeared normal. Hannah, are you home? I called out. Yes, I'm here, came a reply from the bedroom. I wondered why Hannah, who was supposed to be at her parents' house, was here. Feeling anxious, I hurried to the bedroom. Hannah, what are you doing? This is our bedroom, I asked, but the room was unusually tidy. It wasn't just cleaned up, it was almost empty. I noticed the dresser desk that should have been there was missing, and then realized many other things were gone too. My pillows and cushions were missing. Impulsively, I opened the closet and all my clothes were gone. Even my accessories, small items, and cherished graduation album had disappeared. Tentatively, I asked Hannah what had happened. Hey, it seems only my things are missing. Hearing this, Hannah laughed loudly. Have you noticed? All your things are like trash, so I threw them away. Why would you do that? I just don't like you. I thought you had apologized and we had resolved this issue recently. That was just in front of my brother. I never intended to sincerely apologize to you. I've actually mentioned to him that I'm really angry. It infuriates me that my brother feeds you and takes you on trips. That's why I decided to kick you out. You're just a low-income home worker. You should leave. Hannah shouted. I couldn't take it anymore. All right. If you say so, I'll leave. Don't regret it. Huh. I won't regret it. Just leave quickly. Oh, I left your work bag and computer. If I threw everything away, it would affect not just you but your work too. They're in the living room, so take them. With that, I headed to the living room, took my work tools, and then went to the taxi. By chance, I met Chris in the elevator. The card worked eventually, but you're late. Is there a problem? Just ask Hannah, was all I replied. What? Chris looked surprised, but I kept my anger in check and calmly left the apartment. I immediately went to a hotel to book a room for the night. During this time, Chris called me several times. I called Chris back after arriving in my hotel room. I'm sorry, Kate. Hannah has gone home. I didn't expect this to happen. It seems she got angry because I told you the truth. What should we do now? Since many things were thrown away, should we go to the police? The police. Just kidding. Although I'm shocked that my keepsakes were thrown away, possessions can be bought again. If we go to the police, it'll just be dismissed as a family issue. I'm more worried about Hannah's future. Can you help? Of course, I'm concerned about her continuing this way, so tell me whatever you need. Chris encouraged me, and we decided to come up with a concrete plan to correct Hannah's problematic behavior. We decided to take a strict approach to teach her and let her experience the consequences of angering a mature woman in her 30s. Hannah needed to face harsh realities. 2 months after leaving home, I had been living peacefully at my parents' house and hadn't returned home. Although I felt lonely being separated from Chris, we saw each other on weekends and kept in touch, so there were no issues. I gradually got used to my new life and surprisingly found the days pleasant. I enjoyed my mother's homemade cooking and felt happy to be free from household chores. However, during my absence, Hannah had visited Chris several times. It seemed she was already pleased, assuming we would divorce. Just imagining how satisfied Hannah must have felt gave me a sense of her satisfaction. But reality is not so simple. One day, while preparing dinner with my mother after work, Chris suddenly called. "Did she come?" I asked, and Chris replied, "Yeah, she seems pretty panicked." Hannah had realized the change in her situation and was seeking help from Chris. I had anticipated such a situation and calmly stopped preparing the meal to decide to return home. "I'm coming home," I told Chris, and when I finally entered our house, the atmosphere there calmed my heart. As I took off my shoes and headed to the living room, my steps were calm, and it seemed as though there were no issues at first glance. "Kate, you're back," Chris greeted me as I entered. But immediately after, what I saw was Hannah crouching on the floor. Looking up at me, Hannah narrowed her eyes, showing an expression of anger and confusion. "Why are you here?" "I told you to leave." "I don't have time to deal with you now," she said. I quietly read the atmosphere and responded while maintaining my composure. "I heard you might be expelled for unpaid tuition fees. Is that true?" "Be quiet. You have nothing to do with this." My brother was paying for it, but for some reason, the payment stopped. He won't tell me why. "What's going on?" Hannah raised her voice. Chris intervened and explained, "I was waiting for Kate to return before discussing it." "What do you mean by that?" Hannah pressed. "Hannah, actually, I've been the one paying your tuition fees," I quietly revealed. What Hannah looked surprised. The tuition for the high school Hannah attends amounts to about $50,000 over 3 years. By the time she was in her second year, I had already paid $20,000. If I don't pay for the next year, she would have to leave the school. Your parents and Chris don't have that kind of financial flexibility. That's why I decided to take over the payments, I added. "Huh, really? How can you afford to pay so much?" "I work from home, but my job is the same as when I was an office worker, and I've even taken on additional work. So, my income has actually increased," I continued. "What, really? Why did you hide such an important thing?" Hannah asked tearfully. "I wanted to avoid any rifts between you and Chris. I can endure minor criticisms for that. However, the situation with my belongings being thrown away was unexpected." "That's a lie. I've never heard about you providing financial support. You don't have to believe it. But your parents and Chris don't have the financial means. If things continue this way, you will be forced to drop out of high school." No, I absolutely don't want to be a high school dropout." Hannah broke down in tears as she made this plea. "Then, you should apologize for your past actions." "Why would I do such a thing?" Hannah responded defiantly. "Hannah, your attitude is problematic. You're able to live freely and attend a high school in the city because of Kate's support. If you keep being insolent, you really might have to leave school." "Kate, I'm sorry." "What?" "I can't hear you." "I'm sorry. I've reflected. Please let me continue to go to high school," Hannah pleaded while kneeling and crying. "Are you truly sorry?" "Yes, I've reflected. I wouldn't apologize if I hadn't." I didn't feel genuine remorse from Hannah's attitude. "Then, you'll take over all the housework from now on. What? Since you threw away my belongings, you need to make up for that loss. Help with the daily housework and fulfill your responsibility. Why should I do that? If you don't like it, that's fine. In that case, I won't be able to pay your tuition any longer, including the cost for the school trip. But that would be unbearable. I can't stand not going on the school trip. Then, do the housework as I said, every day for a year. If that's unacceptable, I might have to report the damage to the police, I stated firmly. The police, really to that extent? Hannah's voice trembled. You truly haven't shown remorse. There's no other way, I said calmly. Okay, I understand. Please don't go to the police. Hannah's face was filled with fear, looking as if she had lost all vitality. It seemed that this strict approach had its effect, and this time she was seriously reflecting. Afterward, Hannah followed my instructions and managed the household tasks daily. She acquired skills in cleaning, laundry, and cooking, and became proficient in handling housework smoothly. Her daily efforts were evident, and her skills in all areas of housework improved visibly. Eventually, she found joy in acquiring new skills, and her cooking improved significantly. She studied recipes, and through trial and error, she excelled in some dishes and started hosting family and friends to showcase her proud creations. Since then, she seemed to have stopped despising me. Chris also played a role in her behavioral improvement by keeping a close watch. Hannah continued the housework for a year, during which her character gradually improved. She began expressing gratitude for small things, and her demeanor softened. I could feel the rigidity within her slowly melting away. In her final year of high school, she focused on her entrance exams and successfully progressed to university. She shared her joy with me and expressed her gratitude. Thanks to your support, I was able to graduate from high school. I am truly grateful, Hannah said, her words filled with genuine appreciation. Yes, you have done well. Congratulations, I responded. I sincerely celebrated her success and naturally felt inclined to support her further education. I looked forward to her continued growth. Hannah became an important part of my family, and we decided to put past troubles behind us and build a new relationship. One day, Hannah made an unexpected proposal. I want to manage my university fees myself using a scholarship, she said quietly. I couldn't hide my surprise and asked, "Do you really want to do that?" "Yes, I plan to manage on my own," she confidently answered. "Hannah," I muttered, deeply moved by her demonstrated growth and independence. I understood that this decision was a significant step toward her independence, and my heart was filled with joy. Chris, too, was touched by her growth. "If you ever need help, feel free to ask," I said gently, and she responded with gratitude, "Yes, thank you so much." Afterward, Hannah began her university life, busy yet fulfilled with part-time jobs and club activities. She was diligent in her studies, consistently earning the necessary credits each year, and by her final year, she was just preparing her thesis. Eventually, she successfully found a job at her desired workplace. Hannah is now a fully independent adult, and we have no concerns about her future. Meanwhile, Chris and I have been blessed with a child a few years ago, who is now 3 years old. Our family of 3 lives happily together. Hannah visits occasionally to play with our son. Initially, there were concerns about how things would turn out, but I am truly grateful that Hannah has changed her heart and deepened her bonds with our family. We hope to continue cherishing our family's warm ties and to enjoy our happy days together.